Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making the journey. Some of you have come a long way, some of you have just come from down the road. Thank you for joining us today and for the first inaugural annual Landlord Farming Workshop. You want landlords to come and talk to you. Fair goes. All of you, if I can produce a landlord sat in front of you, could you convert them? If the tenant hasn't handed their notice in, will they give you the business there and then? No, because they have no business to give you. But if you can get them to come and talk to you before the tenant hands their notice in, you build a relationship up with them, don't you think that people buy from people, and people buy from people they trust? Your job surely is damn sight easier to say, do you know, I like that Melissa lady, the next time my tenant hands their notice in, I'm going to use her. Is that a fair comment to make? So your job is to, let's revisit the lettings circle. The tenant moves into the property. Do we know how long the tenant's going to be in the property? I know in London you roll your contracts, but most people go on to rolling contracts. So let's just say, did we agree that whilst there's a tenant in the property, the landlord won't swap letting agents? The first time a landlord can swap letting agents is when the tenant hands their notice in. Who does he get the note? Who tells the landlord the notice is handed in? Okay, at that point, that's the first point a landlord could walk away without any hassle, trouble, no issue with the deposit, swapping it over, no issues with fees or anything. Okay? How many landlords at that point will actually say to the letting agent, don't put it back on the market because I'm not sure if you're the best agent for me, I'm going to see if there's any new letting agents in town? They don't. What do they say?
They just say, just
get it back on the market, because remember, they're loyal to the rent, not you as the agent. They put it back on the market. Think of it. Think of the property that that is the cream of the cream. 2-bedroom semi next to the catchment to the school, or the 2-bedroom apartment. How quick will those go?
5 weeks.
Takes 5 weeks. 5 minutes. So the tenant moved in. The clock starts. It keeps going. We all agreed that the landlord won't swap letting agents. The first point the landlord can swap letting agent is when the tenant hands their notice in, but he doesn't because he says get it back on the market. The clock gets start ticking, and within 5 minutes you've got a tenant moved in. The landlord isn't going to say to you at that point, no, don't accept them. I'm not sure if you're the best agent for me. No, they're just going, oh, that's great, I can get on with the rest of my life. Because the only landlords that will actually come through your door are the ones that have been on the market 4, 5, 6 weeks. They're the only landlords that walk through your door, and that's assuming that you've got an expensive shop front. Some of you are online agents. They're going to have to find you on Rightmove and things like that. What would you rather have? The 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom semi in the good catchment area that lets within 5 minutes, or the ex-council 1-bedroom council flat in the worst area of town, or the 4-bedroom detached house on half an acre of manicured lawns that have to be mowed every single week by the tenant? What would you rather have? Those or those? First ones? Okay, but the only landlords that are walking through your door are the second ones. The lower end, the bottom end of the market and the absolute top end of the market. But you want that core market. You want that core market of 2-bedroom apartments and 2-bed semis. What if Landlord Farming could make those landlords walk through your door 6 months before the tenant hands their notice in, so you've got time to build a relationship up with them? They've got no business to give you, but surely all of you have gained business by just talking to people and building relationships up with them, because isn't it a people business? And people buy from people. Won't there come a point where the landlord says, do you know, I like that poor chap. The next time my tenant hands their notice in, I'm going to use him. Is that a fair comment to make? So your job is fundamentally to make landlords want to talk to you. You are not letting agents anymore. That is how you pay your bills, but all of you need to think differently in the fact that you are now property gurus. And that all of you, if you haven't already, have you noticed an awful lot of landlord farmers now have changed their LinkedIn profiles to the author of the Guildford property blog? Who's changed their titles on Rightmove, on LinkedIn? Good stuff. remember, part of the landlord farming process is to use LinkedIn as a way to capture everybody's email addresses. And all of you have done that or processes of doing that. And what I would say to you is this: a lot of you have done it, reached 1,000 or 2,000 and stopped. It's a job that you have to keep going. Now, Richard's going to be talking later about a new piece of kit called Autopilot for LinkedIn. I won't ruin his surprise, but it's a lovely bit of kit and it will help you get more connections. But when you are sending connection requests to people, remember on LinkedIn, you only get that little white box with a photograph, your name and your job title. Director of Scummy Estate Agents. Ugh. Okay, we are lower than the low estate. And I know you're all letting agents, but I'm sorry, most of us see us as estate agents. But authors are considered quite high on the pecking order. And that is why one of the things that I strongly recommend is that you change your title on LinkedIn to the author of the so-and-so property blog, because your connection rate will go through the roof. Right. So do we all agree that if you can make a landlord want to come and talk to you, all of you should be able to build a relationship up with them so they fall in love with you as a person, so when the tenant does hand their notice in, they're going to use you? Does anyone disagree? So the fundamental thing is, how the hell do you make landlords want to come and talk to you? You use one of the most basic principles of marketing called the ADA principle. Anyone not heard of the ADA principle? Come on. You haven't heard it? Right, good. Well, at least there's someone here. For some of you, it's a nice reminder. You want landlords to do something, which is make contact with you. Not to give you their properties, to make contact. Because all of you said, if you can get a landlord to contact me, I'll build a relationship up with them using good old-fashioned Victorian business values, and I'll convert them. But nobody does anything in this world unless they want to do that. Yeah, I want to go and talk to that person. There's an estate agent's out this window there with a great big sign that says 1% and then lots of bullet points. Do you think the more bullet points he has in his window, the more likely people are more likely to come through his door? So why the hell do agents have leaflets, say 5 leaflets? You know, oh, we've got 10 bullet points on ours. I'm being sarcastic, but it's true. You want landlords to come and talk to you. But the first thing you have to do if you want someone to do is that if they're not aware of you, nothing else happens. Awareness is one thing. The other thing is attention. You have to make them aware of you and grab their attention. I could go out that door window now and shout from the loudest, and I will grab everyone's attention. But if what I say thereafter isn't of interest, people will just carry on thinking I'm a lunatic. Most people do in this town, but that's not the point. This is where every agent goes wrong. What they talk about is not of interest. Grab my attention and build my interest. Is Section 8 versus Section 21 interesting? It is to you lot. And it's certainly interesting at an ALA meeting. But is it of interest? No, that's what I pay you for. I'm looking to change my car. If I started getting information from the garage about the EU rules on brake discs, is that interesting? No, I'm looking for big wheels. I want to see how big wheels, because that's the sexy bit. And isn't that the sexy bit of property? House prices, rental growth, that sort of thing. Grab someone's attention, be interesting, eventually they'll want to come and talk to you. Let me come back to the book.